you have people coming into a marriage, and sometimes you have one party with a lot of money, and they want to secure that money to make sure that, hey, this money is all separate property. And you know what? You don't even need a prenup to say that everything I'm coming into this marriage with is separate property, because it is already. However, like we were talking with Dustin about his retirement account. Well, should I stop mine and start another one? Well, in a prenup, you can say that retirement money is going to be my separate property moving forward. So even though it was acquired during the marriage, a portion of that's still considered your separate property. And then, for instance, say I have some rental income, and that rental property was my separate property because I owned it prior to marriage. However, the income from that may be considered community. So in a prenup, I can spell all this out, that all this money is mine, even the mutations of it later, anything that happens. We intend to just be married, but have our financial situations completely separate. That includes assets and debts. And I think it's important for people I think that they really want to go into this relationship knowing that. And even the person who makes less money, they seem to be willing to sign this because they just want to be there with their significant other. And they say, I'm just going to make my stuff and it's going to be mine. And they can make their stuff and it's going to be theirs. Where I think this is a big mistake. And a lot of people waive spousal maintenance in these prenups. A trend I see, which I warn people about, say both parties are working before they get married and they both have good income. So they said, fine, we're going to do this and we don't want spousal maintenance. Well, what happens if you have some children and then you decide to stay home with these children, and then the other party's making all this money, which is their separate property? You're not accumulating any money. And then they divorce you when you have been not working for 4 or 5 years. And then the court says you can have some spousal maintenance. But you've signed this prenup that says that I have to reimburse the person for any spousal maintenance awarded because I don't want any. So now you've hurt yourself. You put yourself in a bad position, and where you could be struggling financially because you signed this prenup, and you're suffering the consequences of that because you didn't think about the future of what might happen or what might not happen. So a lot of people who call me about their prenups, I definitely warn them about that so that they have their eyes wide open when they're walking into that. Now, the trends in the postnups, that's when people are already married. They don't want the court dividing their property. And in Texas, you have the ability to say, my spouse and I say that this community property is this person's separate property. And when you're getting divorced, it makes it a lot easier to have all that spelled out because you enter the agreement with the court saying, this is mine, this is hers, and you save a lot of time and money with the court because it's already done. The only downside to all of this, of course, is if somebody's able to undo those agreements, then you spend a lot of money litigating whether it's something that's going to be thrown out or not. And there's certain reasons why things could be thrown out. For instance, like prenup, if you don't disclose all of your information and you weren't honest with your partner about all the money that you had, then you were a little deceptive there, and there's a chance that could be thrown out. Or if it's completely unconscionable, meaning that there's no way that anybody should have entered this agreement, then sometimes there's a chance to throw things out. But I think in Texas, in general, we like to honor people's abilities to make contracts and enforce them.